BookTube, my name is Darcy, I'm 22 and I'm from Melbourne and I'm currently living in Dubai. Today we are joined with...
Hi, I'm Grace and I also live in Dubai and I am 23.
Today we're going to be talking about all the books that we read in the month of August and September. Now the reason I did not film a August wrap-up or September TBR is because I moved countries. It was very...
To be with me.
To be with Grace. It wasn't a stressful time, I wouldn't say stressful, it was just busy, quite busy. The fact that where I live currently, so this is Grace's room, where I live doesn't have Wi-Fi, which largely affects my general capability to live and function, but also how much I can post on YouTube. So here we go.
One of the first books that I read this summer when I was away, because I was traveling Europe and I was just constantly buying books to add to my suitcase, which in the long run probably wasn't a good idea because she'd be heavy. Yeah. And when I was in Paris, I went to a bookshop called Shakespeare & Co, which is one of the really famous bookshops because it's one of the first English bookshops that was in Paris. And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous and it's like little nooks and crannies and you can like sit and you can like sleep there if you want to because they have like just beds so you can just sleep there. And so I bought this book, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. By Mark Haddon. I bought it because I had been recommended it by you. I had bought tickets to go see it when I was in London, so I wanted to get it done, get it read before I actually went to go see the play. And it's never actually mentioned in the book what he has, but we assume that he has Asperger's. But it's never mentioned, which is another really clever thing. But it's written it's written from his perspective, and it's in chapters. But the chapters, as I was reading, it goes from chapter 2, starts from chapter 2, and then goes to chapter 3, then to chapter 5, and skips numbers. And I found out, because he explains it, that all the chapters are prime numbers. Cool. Because, like, that's something that he likes to count by.
So what would you give it out of 5 stars?
Oh, I cried. I cried. And it's one of those books where you're like I was sitting on the Eurostar, and I was just like pissing myself laughing out loud. It was so funny. Can I give it like a nearly a 5?
You can give it whatever you want. The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist. I would give it like a 4.75.
Great.
I enjoyed the writing because it is written from the perspective of Christopher, and I haven't really had that much exposure to people with Asperger's, but it is just so factual. It's like, this is what this is, and I did this because of this, and that makes me feel that, and that is the whole book. And just seeing it so like simply done like that is really interesting. So I read a really interesting thing in the program for A Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And it was just a bit of a foreword by the author, and it said that this book isn't about someone with Asperger's, it's about everyone else.
Yep, absolutely.
So that is sort of at the end that what makes you get quite emotional, because you realise actually it's not about Christopher, it's about the world that he lives in and how we behave as people.
Well done, Grace. What else did you read?
And I also read, because I'm a big fan of To Kill a Mockingbird, I picked this up when I was in Milan, I think. And I read Go Set a Watchman. Well, it's like a third-person narrator, but it follows Scout. So it's like written 15 years after To Kill a Mockingbird, and it follows Jean Louise, who is Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird, and it's when she's 26 years old, and it sort of follows her and how she has become a woman, but she doesn't really know who she is, and she lives in New York, but she goes back to Alabama, Maycomb, Alabama, to visit Atticus, her father, I just love Atticus. I love Atticus. I think he's the best father in the whole world, except for ours.
We have great dads.
In the Deep South. It just goes back through the turmoil of, race and family and everything like that.
So great.
I read Frank Wedekind because it's German. I picked this up in London, and I read Spring Awakening. I have already read this, but I saw this cover and
Ooh.
it was in Foyle's bookshop in London, and it is the most incredible bookshop. It's just got levels and levels of books, and this whole floor was dedicated to like performing arts, so like plays, screenplays, music, everything like that. And I found this in between a couple of other books. This translation is by Jonathan Franzen, and I read a different translation before we did the play in university. We did the musical, and I've read a different translation, and this one was much better.
Ooh.
So it's more true to the German, the original German, and it keeps in a lot of the sort of crude jokes and sort of innuendos that the other one took out. And if you've ever seen Spring Awakening, the musical, you would know that it's quite intense.
Which is interesting considering this was written in 1891. And it's essentially a musical about children
Finding themselves
sexually. I just found, I flicked on a page just then, Moritz says, I can't have nice cozy talks about reproduction.
It's very funny. It takes you a while. It's one of those ones where you have to reread the paragraphs a couple of times because it is translated, but that kind of makes you want to read it more because like you have to work for it. People call this a tragedy, but I think he says that it's a dark comedy, which I would agree with more. Yeah, anyway, would highly recommend it. Anyone that loves plays, anyone that loves German translated to English.
Dealing with the fact that I was moving to Dubai, I had a lot on my plate, therefore didn't read a lot. In August, I finished Shadow and Bone, which is the first book in the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Now, a lot of people said that Six of Crows is like miles ahead of the Grisha trilogy, but this was incredible. It was really, really great. Leigh Bardugo nails characters. She makes me love all the characters so much. I loved the world. So I know that this is set before Six of Crows, and so that was really interesting to read about too. I loved the sweet romance. I don't want to say like I knew it, but I knew that the evil character was actually, like, I'm going to spoil it, but pretty much like if you've read this, I knew what was going to happen. I knew it, but it wasn't like an annoying thing that I knew. It was a great thing that I knew. I felt really observant. Okay. Mal is my favorite character. I adore him. So the next book is Siege and Storm, so I will, when I go book shopping in Dubai, I will definitely put it on order and definitely get it because I really enjoyed this far more than I thought I would. I thought it would be like, oh yeah, this will be great, but I really, really loved it. So also in August, on the plane over to Dubai, I read The New Human Beings by Bo Taplin. This is a poetry book. Bo is from Melbourne, and so where we are from, and that's why I really, really enjoyed it because there were so many references. Like, I think you would enjoy it even if you weren't Australian or Melburnian, but because I am, there were some lines I was just like, yes, I know what he's talking about. He writes very bluntly. He discusses youth, sex, drugs, relationships. It's really, really great. And I like that it wasn't too ambiguous. Like, I found that this poetry was really, really nice and just lovely. Do you want to borrow it?
Yeah.
It's so good. I've underlined all my favourite bits. It's so good. Then, I don't know where I've put the book, but I also read And I Darken by Kirsten White. And I have like mixed feelings about this book because I found the first maybe quarter or third really amazing. I was really into the characters, especially Radu. But then, and like Lada, I was really like loving her. And then about the second third, they all just became extremely annoying. Mehmed, Lada became frustrating. She couldn't, like, she was just the victim of her own injustice to a point. Like, I get it, that it was good that they discussed feminism and what a woman is in society, especially during the 1400s, but I think that like Lada wasn't actually a strong, independent woman. She was just cruel and mean and quite unlikable in that middle chunk. Just didn't enjoy her character really. Everything that she did for her own everything. And I think that while that can be seen as admirable, I view kindness and empathy. Yeah, how good is it? So good. Anyway, so then the last kind of quarter I really enjoyed. So it was really slow in the middle and it frustrated me a lot. I thought I would enjoy this, like, And I Darken so much more than I actually did. So I only gave it like a 3 stars on Goodreads because it just kind of let me down, made me feel flat. So this month, so it's coming to the end of September. I'm hoping by the end of September I also will have finished Graceling by Kristen Cashel. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only like 20 pages in, but I actually really enjoy it. I'm also hoping to read Bad Feminist, and I'm also hoping to finish up Heir of Novron, which is the third novel set in the Rhaenyra Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. It's been hard to read because I'm working 6 days a week and I'm very tired. I just finished my 8th working day. It's been great. Yay. So, hope you've all been well. Please let me know all the books that you've been really enjoying or really not enjoying. If you've read Empire of Storms without spoiling it, please let me know what you thought. Keep in mind that I did not enjoy Queen of Shadows on the whole. So just drama overload. And we love drama. I love drama. Think about Gossip Girl. We just watched Gossip Girl this morning. Fantastic. Yay. Okay. Bye. Have a lovely day. Bye.